Look, if you've ever pulled a dry, rubbery chicken off your smoker and had to pretend it was good in front of your family, you know exactly how I felt last summer. I thought I had it all figured out. 3 hours at 225 degrees, just like everyone on YouTube said. When I opened that smoker, I wanted to crawl under a rock. The chicken looked okay from the outside, but when I cut into it, man, it was like chewing on old shoe leather. Here's the thing that nobody wants to admit. Most of us are just guessing when it comes to cook times. And that's exactly why we keep screwing it up. But after that embarrassing disaster and spending way too many weekends figuring out what went wrong, I finally figured out there's actually a super simple way to know exactly how long your chicken needs, and it works every single time. I'm going to walk you through the exact same method that took me from being the guy who ruins backyard cookouts to one that everyone calls when they want perfect chicken. So stick with me, and I'll promise you they'll never serve dry chicken again. Here's why this matters so much. Most people think smoking a chicken is like putting something in the oven. Just set a timer for 3 hours and walk away. But that's exactly the thinking that's messing everyone up. See, here's what's really going on. Every single chicken you buy is different. That 3-pound bird your buddy smoked last weekend is going to cook way faster than the 5-pound chicken that you bought today. Then you got the weather. Cold day means a longer cook time, and a hot day means a shorter cook time. And your smoker runs a little different than mine. Or maybe your chicken started out colder than mine. All of these things change how long it takes to cook. So when you just guess 3 hours, you're basically playing chicken roulette with your dinner. Sometimes you get lucky, sometimes you don't. But here's the good news. I'm going to give you a really simple formula that takes care of all of this. No more guesswork. Think of it like having a GPS on your car. Instead of just driving around hoping you find your destination, actually know where you're going and how long it'll take to get there. Now I know what you're thinking. Great, another complicated barbecue formula that's going to confuse me even more. But I promise you, this is different. I've tested this method on dozens of chickens in all kinds of weather, different smokers, and it works every time. Once you see how simple it really is, you'll wonder why nobody else talks about it this way. Okay, so here's how it works, and I'm going to break it down super simple. First thing you need to do is find out how much your chicken weighs, and it's right there on the package. Look for something between 3 and 5 pounds if you're just starting out. All right, do you have that number? Good. Now take the weight and multiply it by 35. That's your baseline time if you're cooking at 275 degrees Fahrenheit. But we're not cooking at 275. We're cooking at 225. So we need to add some extra time because lower heat means longer cooking. Here's where the extra time comes from. When you drop your temperature by 25 degrees, you need to add about 10 minutes per pound to your cook time. Since we're going from 275 to 225, that's a 50-degree difference. Think of it as 2 steps down. It's the first 25-degree step, then another 25-degree step. So that's 10 minutes per pound for the first step, plus another 10 minutes per pound for the second step. Add those together and you get 20 minutes per pound. I know this sounds like a lot of math, but it's really easy once you see it. Let me show you exactly how this works with a real example. Let's say you've got a 4-pound chicken. That's probably what most people are working with. First, we figure out our baseline time. 4 pounds times 35 minutes equals 140 minutes. That's about 2 hours and 20 minutes. If we're cooking at 275 degrees, now write that number down somewhere. Next, we need to add time for our lower temperature. 4 pounds times 20 minutes equals 80 minutes. That's an adjustment for cooking at 225 instead of 275. Now comes the easy part. Just add those two numbers together. 140 plus 80 equals 220. If you convert that to hours, you get 3 hours and 40 minutes. So a 4-pound chicken at 225 degrees should take about 3 hours and 40 minutes. That's your target time. Now, here's why this actually works. This formula gets me within about 10 minutes of the actual cook time almost every single time. And I'm not kidding. Last weekend, I had a 4-pound chicken. My formula said 3 hours and 40 minutes, and it was done in 3 hours and 45 minutes. I was off by like 5 minutes. That's close enough that you don't have to stress about it or keep opening your smoker every 20 minutes to check. All right, so now you know how to time your chicken perfectly. But here's the thing, even if you nail the timing, you can still end up with chicken that tastes like nothing or comes all dried out. That's because most people skip the prep work or they don't understand how prep affects their cook time. See, there are 3 things that can mess with your timing that most people never think about. First is whether you brine your chicken or not. Second is what the weather's like that day. And third is what kind of wood you're using. If you don't account for these things, your perfect formula goes right out the window. But I'm going to show you exactly how to handle all this stuff. Let's talk about brining. This is basically just soaking your chicken in salty water with some other good stuff mixed in. It makes the meat way more juicy and adds a ton of flavor. And here's a super simple brine I use every time. Get yourself a gallon of water, add half a cup of regular salt, half a cup of brown sugar, and a quarter cup of apple cider vinegar. Throw in some fresh thyme and some rosemary if you got it. But don't stress if you don't. Mix it all up until the salt and the sugar have dissolved, and then put your chicken in there and let it sit for about 4 to 5 hours. You can even do this the night before if you want. When you take it out, dry it off really well with paper towels. This is super important if your chicken is still wet. It's gonna steam instead of getting that nice smoky flavor. And after you dry it off, put it back in the fridge for about an hour with no cover on it. Lets the skin get a little tacky, which helps the smoke stick to it better. Now for seasoning, you can buy a rub from the store if you want. There's nothing wrong with that. Or you can make this super simple one. 2 tablespoons of paprika, 1 tablespoon each of garlic powder and onion powder, 1 tablespoon of cayenne pepper, and 2 tablespoons of brown sugar. Mix it all up and rub it all over the chicken inside and out. Here's where it gets important for your timing. If you brine your chicken, like I just showed you, you need to add 30 minutes to your cook time. That brine makes the meat hold more water, and that water takes extra time to cook out. Now, what about the weather? If it's a really humid day, I'm talking about Florida level of humidity, where it feels like you're breathing through a wet towel, add another 10 minutes to your cook time. The moisture in there slows down how fast the skin gets crispy. Now say that it's a windy day, add another 10 minutes. Wind pulls heat away from your smoker and makes it have to work harder to maintain that temperature. So let's go back to our 4-pound chicken example. We started with 3 hours and 40 minutes. And if I brine it, that's another 30 minutes. If it's humid out, that's plus another 10 minutes. So now we're looking at 4 hours and 20 minutes of total cook time. The first time I got this all right, my neighbor Jim came over and asked if I ordered catering. I'm serious. He couldn't believe that I actually made this chicken myself. Now, the brine keeps everything super moist while giving it that amazing tangy flavor. You just can't get any other way. And that rub creates this perfect balance of sweet and smoky that makes people keep on coming back for more. The best part is that those timing adjustments actually work. No more serving rubber chicken and trying to pretend that it's supposed to be that way. And now I've got people showing up to my house uninvited, hoping I'm making chicken, and if you somehow end up with leftovers, they make incredible chicken salad or wraps that beat anything you can buy at the grocery store. And by the way, if this process seems complicated, I'm going to leave a link in the comments giving you the step-by-step in more detail. It's basically going to be a summarization of this video. Again, just check the comments down below and you'll have it there. Okay, so you got your timing down and you know how to prep your chicken. But here's something that drives me crazy. Most people think you have to choose between good smoke flavor and crispy skin. Like you can have one or the other, but not both. And that's completely wrong. You can absolutely have tender, juicy meat with crispy skin. You just need to know how to do it. And you need to set up your smoker the right way from the beginning. Here's why most people get soggy skin. When you cook at 225 degrees the whole time, that temperature is perfect for getting smoke into the meat, but it's too low to properly render the fat under the skin. So you end up with this rubbery, chewy skin that nobody wants to eat. But here's what changes everything. You don't have to cook at the same temperature the whole time. We're going to start at 225 to get that smoke flavor locked in, and then we're going to bump it up later to crisp the skin. It's like getting the best of both worlds. First, let's talk about setting up your smoker the right way. I like to use applewood or cherry. They're mild and sweet. If you want a bolder, smokier flavor, then use woods like hickory or mesquite. If you can't find any of those, any fruit wood will work great. Now get your smoker up to 225 degrees and make sure it's steady there. Place your chicken breast side up into the smoker and let the smoker do its thing. But here's the part that most people don't know. Going back to our 4-pound chicken from before, after about 2.5 hours, we're gonna bump up your smoker to a temperature of 275 degrees. This higher heat is gonna render that fat under the skin and make it crispy, but it's not hot enough to dry out the meat. You wanna keep an eye on that internal temperature though. The breast meat should get to 165 degrees and the thigh meat should get to 175 degrees. You can use a regular meat thermometer for this, or if you want something a little bit easier, you can get something like my Meter Plus wireless thermometer. It has an app that lets you monitor the temperature from your phone. I love it. I can be inside the house where it's nice and cool and still know where my chicken is going to be. When your chicken hits that right internal temperature, take it off the smoker right away. Don't let it keep cooking. Cover it loosely with aluminum foil and let it rest for about 10 to 15 minutes. This lets all those juices redistribute throughout the meat, and when it's all said and done, you get that deep smoky flavor all the way through the meat and skin that's actually crispy. I tested this on everything from a $150 Weber to a $200 electric smoker to a $3,000 pellet smoker. I get the same results every time. Perfect, juicy meat with crispy skin that people actually fight over. So there you have it. No more guessing how long to smoke a whole chicken at 225 degrees. You've got a proven system now that's gonna give you juicy, flavorful chicken with crispy skin every single time. But here's what's gonna happen next. Once you show up to your next cookout with that perfect smoked chicken, people are going to notice. And the first thing they're going to do is ask you, can you make ribs like that too? And here's the thing. Most people think ribs are way harder than chicken. They're not. They actually use a similar timing principle, but with a few tweaks. And there's one step that separates fall off the bone ribs from tough, chewy disappointment. Miss this one step, and it doesn't matter how perfect your timing is. Check out this video right here where I show you the simple technique that guarantees tender ribs that I have people begging you for more. Click on that video right now, and I'll see you there.